The word stepmother comes with a heavy shadow. For generations, legends and folklore have painted her as the figure of envy, cruelty, and resentment, an outsider who tears a family apart from the inside. But in truth, most stepmothers are simply women trying to earn trust in complicated, fragile circumstances. Many are gentle, many are loving. The stereotype almost never fits. And yet, there are stories so unsettling, so haunting, that they seem to give those ancient myths new life. Not as fairy tales, but as tragedies carved from reality itself. This is the story of a woman who had not even married into the family yet, and a father who once swore to protect his children. Together, they made a choice so cold it left an entire nation in shock. This is the case of Zhang and Ya Cheng-chen. On November 2nd, 2020, in Chongqing, one of China's largest cities, life seemed ordinary. Children played downstairs, neighbors leaned out of windows, the breeze moving through the streets. Then came a scream, a sound so sharp it cut through the air, followed by a thud, then another. At first, some thought it was construction, but those who ran toward the noise found something that froze them in place. On the pavement lay two children, a little girl and her baby brother, twisted and broken in a pool of blood. Some bystanders covered their mouths, others turned away, unable to bear the sight. Moments later, a man burst out of the building, barefoot, hair disheveled. He collapsed to his knees, clutching his chest as he cried out, "My kids! My babies!" To onlookers, he seemed like a father shattered by tragedy. He gasped for air, sobbing, repeating over and over, "I'm sorry! I'm sorry!" Perhaps to his children, perhaps to himself. At first glance, it looked like a terrible accident. Maybe the windows had been left open. Maybe the children had fallen. But investigators noticed something off. His grief did not feel like sorrow. It felt like guilt. As police pressed him for answers, his story began to crumble. Timelines did not match. Details were missing. His emotions did not quite add up. And soon, officers stopped treating this as an accident and started treating it as a crime. Because the truth was horrifying. The children had not fallen. They had been thrown. And when detectives dug deeper, they found not only a motive, but a woman at the center of it all. A woman who had made it clear the children could never be part of her future. She wanted him to kill the little girl while she was still in his care, but Zhang hesitated. Chen returned earlier than expected, and once home, she stayed to play with Yang Yang, making it impossible for him to act. For the moment, the plan was put on hold. Then came November 1st. Zhang called Chen, asking if he could see his daughter again. He said he missed her, that he wanted to spend time with her. To Chen, it felt like a breakthrough. After so much distance and silence, maybe Zhang was finally reconnecting with his daughter. Maybe he still cared. She agreed immediately. She brought Shu over and left her with her father, never doubting that her child would be safe in his hands. Then she went to dinner with friends. But again, Zhang did not act. His mother was home, and he could not risk being seen. Instead, he left the children with her and spent the night at Ya's apartment. The plan was delayed, but not for long. On November 2nd, 2020, Zhang returned home at 10 a.m. He already knew what he intended to do. He did not eat, he did not sleep. He waited. By 3:30 that afternoon, his mother had stepped out. Now it was just him and his two children in the apartment. In the second bedroom, 2-year-old Shu and 1-year-old Yang Yang were climbing onto the bay windowsill, laughing as toddlers do, unaware that their father stood behind them, watching. Zhang froze. For a moment, he looked at them as a father. Then he reminded himself, "This is the only way. If I do this, I will be free. Ya will love me. We can have a future." Just then, his phone rang. A video call from Ya. For a split second, he hoped she had changed her mind. But when he answered, he saw her holding a knife to her wrist, dragging it across her skin. She was bleeding. She was serious. Panic surged. Zhang turned to his children. He knelt down and pulled them into his arms. They giggled, thinking their father was playing, but moments later, he carried them to the window and let go. 2-year-old Shu died instantly. Her baby brother, Yang Yang, still had a pulse when he was found, but his injuries were too severe. He died soon after. From the 15th floor of Unit 4 in Chongqing's Nan district, both children had been murdered by the man meant to protect them. Zhang looked down at the blood on the grass below. Then he slipped on the mask he had prepared. He ran downstairs, screaming, collapsing on the ground, slapping his legs, crying out like a father destroyed by grief. To those watching, it looked like raw heartbreak. When police arrived, they found him hunched over the bodies, still performing. At first, it looked like an unthinkable accident. He claimed he had been asleep, that the children must have climbed up and fallen while he was not watching. The story was plausible. Many believed him. The video of Zhang wailing on the pavement spread online, going viral. Some viewers pitied him. Others blamed the parents for negligence. But soon, doubt crept in. Neighbors pointed out that every bay window in the building had guardrails, rails too high for toddlers to climb over alone. If that was true, Zhang's story did not hold. Police dug deeper. On his phone, every message with Ya had been deleted. Thousands of conversations wiped clean. But forensic teams recovered them. More than 17,000 WeChat messages resurfaced, laying out a plan in chilling detail. Kill both children, make it look like an accident, and put on a performance for the world. On November 10, 2020, police arrested Zhang Bo and Ya Chengcheng. The next day, they announced a formal homicide investigation. When the truth reached Chen Min, she was crushed all over again. For days, she could not speak, could not eat, unable to process that the man she once trusted had not just failed her, but had murdered their children. Her ex-husband, the man she once loved, and his girlfriend had murdered their children. Instead of staying silent, she chose to fight. She recorded a video and posted it online, asking the public to help her seek justice for her son and daughter. People answered. Internet users rallied behind her, digging into Ya Chengchen's past and her family's business. The pressure was immediate. Before the first trial, Ya's parents met with Chen. They offered 300,000 yuan, about $41,000, in compensation, hoping she might forgive Ya or soften her stance. Chen refused. They raised the offer. She refused again. Soon after, Zhang sent a handwritten letter. He said he loved the children, that he was sorry, that he hoped she could forgive him. She never replied. On July 26, 2021, the Fifth Court of Chongqing held a public hearing. Chen Min stood in court and withdrew her incidental civil claim. She told the court money was not the point. Justice was. She said both Zhang and Ya deserved the harshest penalty for what they had done. During the trial, Zhang and Ya turned on each other. Zhang said Ya manipulated him, threatened suicide, and sent a photo of a slashed wrist on the day of the murders, telling him to act or she would die. Ya denied it. She insisted she never told him to do anything, that she did not even know he planned to kill the children. According to her, the idea was entirely Zhang's. He was the one obsessed with starting over and did not want the children in his life. Back and forth they went, each trying to look less guilty than the other. But neither could explain away the chat logs. Long, detailed messages about how and when to carry out the murders, and how to lie afterward. There was no hiding from that. One key moment, her alleged wrist cutting, happened on a video call, and without a recording, it was hard to prove. Zhang asked the court to examine his body, pointing to scars and bruises he said came from Ya's abuse, that she threatened and controlled him until he did the unthinkable. By then, he knew there was no escape. If he was going down, he was determined to take Ya with him. The court weighed everything. Both statements, the contradictions, the chats, phone records, witness accounts, and physical evidence. It all pointed to one conclusion. They did not just kill two children. They planned it step by step and tried to stage it as an accident. On the morning of December 28, 2021, the verdict came. The Fifth Court of Chongqing found Zhang Bo and Ya Chengcheng guilty of premeditated murder. Both received death sentences and were permanently stripped of political rights. Even then, neither showed real remorse. Ya refused to admit prior knowledge. Her attorney argued she was only an accomplice, not central. The court disagreed, finding that Ya and Zhang shared equal responsibility. Claims that she had been coerced were not supported, and her defense was rejected. Afterward, Ya reportedly told her family she was unhappy with her lawyer and wanted a new one for appeal. Both she and Zhang challenged the ruling, hoping to reduce their sentences. A second hearing was held on April 6, 2023. This time, Zhang reversed himself entirely. He withdrew his earlier confession and claimed it was an accident, that the children fell on their own. The court did not accept it. On May 11, 2023, the Chongqing High People's Court upheld the original decision. The evidence was overwhelming, the planning unmistakable. The crimes were described as extremely vile and particularly cruel. The Supreme People's Court agreed, and the death sentences stood. On January 31, 2024, just over 3 years after the children's deaths, the sentences were carried out. Chinese authorities did not disclose the method, commonly lethal injection or firing squad. But they confirmed both Zhang Bo and Ya Chengchen were executed. For many, that was the justice they had waited for. For Chen Min, the mother who lost both children in the most unthinkable way, the pain never left. She later said she questions everything, not only that day, but all that led to it. She wonders if marrying Zhang was a mistake. She replays the moment she handed Shu to her father, the last time she saw her alive. She said half her soul was lost when her children were thrown from the 15th floor. She cannot sleep. She cannot stop imagining those final moments, how afraid they were, how much they suffered. The thoughts circle endlessly. No sentence is long enough, no punishment severe enough to erase that pain. What drives a parent to kill their own children? There is no simple answer, and there should not be. Our instincts say parents protect, nurture, and sacrifice. Here, the opposite happened. Zhang was not just a father. He was someone so desperate to be loved, so starved for validation, that he erased his own blood to keep another person's approval. What we saw was not love, but obsession. An obsession that blurred every moral line. A man warped by emotional dependence. A woman who weaponized that weakness. Together, they built a world where children were obstacles, not lives. This happens more often than we admit. not always ending in murder, but leaving deep scars. People cling so hard to love that they compromise everything else, even what should matter most. The lesson is not only about crime or punishment, it is about boundaries, self-worth, and remembering that real love never asks you to destroy the very people you are meant to protect. That is all for today. My name is Brian. Thanks for watching. Until next story, stay safe.